conference will now be recorded.
Mayor and Council workshop meeting at 7 p.m. We're gonna get started. Is there anybody signed up for citizens comment? I don't see anybody here. Nobody signed up?
Would you like?
She's
Oh, she's yeah, she's the presenter.
She's our.
So she doesn't have to sign up. Okay.
Doesn't have to. So
She's
if we
our-
don't have any citizen comments, we'll move on to our guests. Megan, the floor is yours, man.
Good evening. I have paper copies of this for you guys to pass down just in case you want to jot down any questions as we go. Thank you. So my name is Megan Jenkins. I am the GIS coordinator with the Department of Planning and Zoning for the county. And my side gig is the preservation planner for the county as well. Yes, the other duties as a sign. I had an interest in it and people took advantage of that. Your department director. So I'm here tonight to discuss the potential for the town to enter into an MOU for the town to qualify for the county's historic structures tax credit. So I have a very brief PowerPoint presentation to kind of introduce what we're talking about, and then I will definitely open it up for any questions if you want to. You are welcome to ask me questions as I go through that as well. So a historic preservation tax credit is a reduction in federal, state, or local taxes, depending on the credit program the person or entity that it participates with. For the county, it's a property tax credit, and it is a property tax credit on the county portion of property tax credit that does not affect any of the municipal credit, or municipal tax, excuse me. So for the county's property tax credit, it is a 25% tax credit for rehabilitation, and that is there's an additional 5% credit that can be attained for structures that are new construction attached to a historic structure. The properties that qualify can be residential or commercial. This is for exterior rehabilitation only. We do not get involved with any interior design. The important thing to remember for citizens that wish to participate would be to apply before you begin work, and that's just so we can see what the structure looks like before you start doing work. We take before, during, and after pictures. Hopefully the property owner can supply them or their contractors, but we will come out and help if needed. These tax credits apply in our Antietam overlay area. We have some adopted historic rural villages. We have a specific zoning overlay, our HP zoning overlay, where they can also go. And then we, again, have some qualifying municipalities. So our tax credit ordinance originated in 1990 and had not been updated since that point in time. So previously it was only a 10% tax credit. So increasing it to 25% has made it a little bit more appealing as far as having to fill out an application, and it's a little bit greater of credit for people to be able to get for their properties. We increased those geographies, and previously there was no qualifying municipality explicitly stated. It was merely in the commissioner minutes that they were okay with it being in the municipalities. So we wanted to formalize a definition just for clarification for the public and for the municipalities that wanted to participate. So again, in that ordinance update in 2024, we took care of those things, increasing the credit, geographies, trying to define those municipalities. And then we also explicitly outlined some of the qualifying rehabilitation expenses to make it a little clearer for the public about what type of projects we would expect to see qualify for these credits. And then we streamlined the application process by allowing equivalent documentation. So there is a state income tax credit that some people take advantage of. And the application process for that is very similar to ours. So you submit a copy basically, so we're not filling out stuff twice. You can check a box on our application that you're supplying equivalent documentation, and as long as everything's filled out on one of the other applications provided. So what's historic? As far as the ordinance goes, it is very general, and that is for a reason. It's a combination of material to form a construction that's stable, that could possess historic, archaeological, or cultural significance. It's important to understand that we don't restrict these tax credits to just your house. These could also be for outbuildings that are significant for their own right in relation to the other structures that are on the property. So what's eligible, they would be properties that are already inventoried on the Maryland Inventory of Historic Properties, being individually listed and or in a National Register district that's contributing. And a qualifying municipality would have their own design review standards and an equivalent area to the county's historic preservation district, or what we're here to talk about tonight is delegation of permit review authority through that recorded MOU as an option. So the Maryland inventory is just that. It's an inventory, just to be clear. It just encourages the public to ensure that their structures are on the inventory. It is a collection of district sites, buildings, structures. It is not in and of itself regulatory, and we have several different maps, either through the state or through the county, where you can view what's on the inventory. So just a quick synopsis of what the existing municipalities' survey levels look like. For Boonesboro, you have a combination of National Register District and individual properties within your jurisdiction. And to our knowledge, you do not have a historic property, historic permit review authority here within your town. So again, that would be through that MOU that we're talking about. So a little bit about the HDC. If you're going to provide an MOU, an agreement for review, you want to know who's going to be reviewing it. So our HDC was created in 1986. They are a certified local government representative for the county as of 1991. Their powers are largely housed in our zoning ordinance. We have to maintain at least 2 members who are qualified professionals. They can be in any range of professions. Right now we have an archaeologist, which is very fortunate for us. And we also have a historian on the HDC, as well as our other members who have an interest. So again, our application is very basic, but it follows the state application for a reason, so that they can be equivalent, like we mentioned. So there's that initial evaluation to make sure it is a property that is one of those inventory properties, National Register, it has some type of historic significance and where it's located. Then we go into a description of the project in the Part 2 application, and then Part 3 is a customer supplying those receipts that they have completed work. And all of those applications and a set of instructions are available on our website. So the draft MOU, its purpose is to provide a mechanism for municipalities that don't have design review to qualify for these tax credits. The permit review that is listed for this MOU is voluntary. It's only going to be on the applications for properties that wish to pursue the tax credit. I'm not going to be looking at every permit that comes through for the town. I will be flagging in our permit system those properties that are pursuing a tax credit. We have the ability to put notices on those properties. So there would just be a notice, so they make sure they send anything to me. The HDC would just be an additional review folder, so we don't anticipate this adding an extraneous amount of time to any permit applications. The dates for the HDC meetings are typically clearly outlined for the customers when they come in to apply for these credits. The HDC does meet once a month, and staff does work with the applicants to make sure that their materials are turned in on a timely manner so they can be on the agenda that they choose to. So again, for what the HDC reviews, they are reviewing exterior only. We do not look at anything inside, so the customer can continue to have their modernized kitchen if they so choose. We are only looking at what you can see from your typical right-of-way. The HDC does not comment on the use of the property. If the customer would like to go and pursue a different use outside of residential, that is typically still left up to the town and your zoning ordinance and what you would allow. The HDC does not comment on that. We are strictly concerned with the continued use and stability of the structure. If a permit isn't required for the proposed work, the HDC would still review that application for tax credit, and we would just communicate with the town that we have an active application for it. So how does the HDC review? We have the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation that are our guidelines, but then we also have created some local guidelines which are available online. I have a little copy here with me as well if you wanted to look through them. It just gives the customer an idea of what it is for specific project types that we would be looking for. Typically, with the HDC projects, we are looking for retention over replacement. So if something is able to be retained, repaired, we would prefer that the customer have a qualified craftsman that's going to take care of that versus just replacing. And we would work with them if they have to do replacement based on the condition. And finally, the HDC does have some customer resources that we put out there for people considering projects. These include the design guidelines and some technical resources that are linked for different project types. We have recommended reading, demolition resources, again, maps and tax credit information available on the site. The county does have a very robust mapping array on our website, and the tax credits and the historic resource mapping are two of those things that are available on the site. So if I can relay just some key takeaways, again, we do not anticipate this is going to have any added permit review time to anyone that's not a voluntary person entering into a tax credit application. We would be flagging those properties again once they had applied for the tax credit. So they would be the only ones that we'd be looking at. Land use is not reviewed. It's exterior only, and it is voluntary. It is voluntary for you all to enter into the MOU, and it is voluntary for those customers to pursue it once they choose to. So I am happy to answer any questions you might have about that information that I have presented.
Well, you went through that really quick. You've reviewed
I feel like she's done that before.
Yeah.
A few times.
So on page 5 there, if I understand this correctly, Lonnie,
Mhm.
window replacements do not require a permit if the opening is the same size.
Mhm.
If the tax credit application proposed window replacement, then the type of window would be open to comment or approval for credit purposes. So does that mean if they propose replacing a window of the same size, it has to be an approved type of window? They can't just put anything in there just because it's the same size? Are we
Correct.
Okay.
So the purpose of the credit generally is to offset either the more expensive craftsmen that would be necessary to do the repairs on a property, or to offset the cost of in-kind materials. So if a window needed replacement, we would expect that to be an in-kind replacement. For example, we would not expect a wood window to be replaced by a vinyl window. At least on a primary facade. Our design guidelines do outline that we are open to alternative materials, but on primary facades, i.e. the one you see on the main right of way, we would expect that to be an in-kind replacement. Now, if there were no in-kind material that could be found, it would be very rare, but if there were no in-kind material that could be found, the HTC is open to the customer supplying information about how that would look from the right of way. If there's no visual difference, they may be open to that, but they are always going to promote an in-kind replacement on something like that. Something that might also be included would be the number of panes. So you
I was gonna say,
replacing
it
a
has to be
9/6 with just a single pane isn't going to be as favorable of an application.
They would, but you would be looking for the same type of paint there, right?
The same type of arrangement of the panes.
Yes.
That's
Gotta
correct.
be, if it's glass, it's gotta be glass, et cetera.
And the HTC does have, promote some workshops that the Historic Trust does to help people to repair their existing windows. The Historic Trust does some great workshops throughout the summer where they have some craftsmen come in and teach customers how to maintain their windows. So we typically do promote those when we know someone's going to be doing some window work, because once someone knows how to do it, it's not as daunting, and they tend to be more amenable to keeping them, because a lot of times it's the maintenance, but those wood windows do actually last longer when well maintained.
Well, I'm gonna ask the question, because your figure 14 does appear to be a house right down here on Tony Street.
I did try to put houses
Yeah.
of each municipality in the
Right.
receipt for noticing.
That's
Tried to make sure I
Yeah.
had structures from each municipality in here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a former Maryland guy?
yes,
Yes, he was.
yeah. This one here looks like Dennis Fry's house down there on Mill Road.
It isn't, but we do have that house in here.
Is Dennis one the historian you mentioned?
No, he is not currently on the HTC, he
Yeah,
doesn't
that's-
participate on it. But I have discussed
I'll talk to him.
different historic preservation initiatives with him, of course.
Yeah, it looks like it.
So I have questions if somebody else has
Go ahead.
questions.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, since Eric headed down that rabbit hole. So say you applied and you're in the historic, just, you got the historic tax credit. Then you decided you wanted to replace your windows and you wanted to get vinyl. can you then opt out and your taxes just go back to what they were? Do you have to pay back?
So there is a clause in the ordinance that if they did something that disqualified it, they could have to return the amount of credit that was previously provided to them.
Okay.
It's not something that I highly anticipate happening, but there's always that chance.
Okay.
And we would typically, if we noticed that that had happened, we would try to work with the property owner to encourage a more in-kind replacement and see if we could get something put in that was supposed to be there. Hopefully they would not do that, because once we usually contact people, they call us ahead of time, and we will reiterate that, once they are entered into the tax credit, that they would want to reach out to us with future projects, so that we can either see if they qualify for a credit, or
Do they have to reapply their property like every?
each
7 years?
project is a new application. So if they were doing a larger project and they knew they were doing it in phases, they could do one full application with the phases in there, or we've had people do it where, they only have the funding.
So is the tax credit just a one-time thing, or it's a reduced property tax every year?
It is a one-time project-based credit that has to be
Okay.
expended within a 5-year period.
Hmm.
So if a person were to be able to offset their tax burden for that entire 5 years, but still had some left over, they are leaving that on the table, because we can only do it for the 5
Okay.
years.
Is there a certain date, like before a certain date, before it becomes historic? Like, does it have to be before 1950, 1920?
No, there are
There's not
different
a date
types
range.
of qualifications for historic. It could be related to the type of construction, it could be the work of a master, it could be related to people of importance. There's multiple facets that can make a property a historic property. And typically, the rule of thumb that people talk about is 50 years or older. But again, if it's associated with events or people of importance, that rule doesn't necessarily apply. It's just a standard rule that if people typically think of something, 50 years or older for a structure would be something where they can start considering it to be historic.
Okay, so, and then the historic overlay does it encompass the whole town or just?
It would be
Like
over that
this
national
section.
registered district that you have, any properties that contribute to that, which is pretty much a lot of your downtown.
Okay.
And then
But it's
there are
not
the
like
individual
the
properties.
new development.
No, it is not
That
the new
is pretty
development.
much just central area.
Now, if the town wanted to go through and specify their own, eventually take over something like this and do their own, you could do that down the line. But right now, for our purposes, it's just.
And
that.
then one more question, sorry. What happens if you leave the position, because you said you kind of just like got added to it, like you're doing MOU and we offer this and then she leaves or the county,
I've been with the
you know,
county for
decides
17
not
years.
to do it.
Yeah.
Do we just like in the MOU and we don't have, like who would police it?
Don't you guys have to have someone?
For-
We do, the
Position.
HDC would persist without me.
Okay, okay.
But I have
But I just
been-
want, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, I'm just-
Yeah, I do plan on sticking around. I've been with the county for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working with the HDC since 2020. But the HDC will persist because that is a function of the Certified Local Government Program with the state. And then also they are in our zoning ordinance. So unless the zoning ordinance were to be repealed without any type of replacement, they would continue to exist.
Do we have to take any action to declare?
Yeah.
We just have to sign the MOU.
Yes, Rachel has taken a look at everything, and I think we've had a draft
Yeah,
based off of the original draft that I provided.
Bring it back to the regular meeting.
Okay.
Should we have the planning commission look at it? I was thinking like, should it, you know what I mean? Should they look at it, make a recommendation, or just at least know, because they might have
Just make them aware. Yes.
a different opinion or.
Other than signing the MOU, what else would the county have, or the town have to do to get this movement forward?
That's the only thing. We will then take a signed MOU copy to the Board of County Commissioners. We just took Edithville last week. And that would be executed with the signature of the president of the OCC, and our county attorney's office will take care of recordation.
But then after that, we wouldn't have to have, like, someone come in and survey and.
No, you've already
Identify.
had a survey done
Okay.
for the town. This is just for the.
And it's all optional, right?
It's all
Get my house in
optional.
it because it's old.
So, sorry, the risk of beating a dead horse, so it's extremely clear, if we would enter into this and one house wants to do it, it's only if they opt into that.
Correct,
and want it.
yes.
So it doesn't mean that all the houses in that
Correct.
area are stuck with it.
Correct. And I have had maybe 2 phone calls from town residents from Boonesboro over the years. But I haven't had an influx of them. So those are the only 2 that I'm aware of. And they're along the main drag.
What happens when the house sells? Like if
That's what my
somebody
next
has it in
question
there?
was.
The credit can persist
Okay,
for the property tax.
but could they end it?
Similar to what our first conversation was, is that we would try to be communicative that they have had a credit in the past and there's an active one. I would hope that they would notice on their bill that they have a pretty significant property tax credit and want.
Right, but I mean, somebody buying it might not.
Correct,
Also,
yes.
somebody wouldn't do all that and spend all that money to make their house look restored.
But I mean, I'm just thinking,
No, devil's
I work for an
advocate,
auction
yes.
company and we do estate sales all the time and somebody dies who lives in the house all the time. The family might not be aware that, you know what I mean, and it's a significant, sometimes deterrence or non-deterrence, especially if a property needs
It's a thought.
some repairs, I'm just
We
curious
keep a
as
list of
to.
our historic preservation overlay, property owners in the county, and we do try to do mailings to them. If that is a concern, I can certainly raise that with the HDC and see if part of our yearly or bi-yearly mailings that we do with our current HP overlay properties with the county, we could add in those.
So do they get like a plaque or something that this thing's in it? That's what I'm saying, like, how would you know? If, you know what I mean, you sell a house and then somebody goes to do something and fix it up and then somebody goes, hey, you can't do that, your house is in. You know what I mean? And then whose responsibility is
The
it? Because
state-
somebody else applied for it.
The state does place in some cases, the state does place an easement on properties that they have supplied a tax credit to. That is not something that I have brought before the Board of County Commissioners, because that would show up on a title search. That is.
So it would show on a title search.
That,
Just the
for
state,
the
we're not.
state,
okay,
that's
so
if
the
if
counties
they
would.
receive a state credit, but the state does not always require that as part of their tax credit. So, or grant program, they don't always require.
But who does put plaques on the homes then?
I know there are a couple on buildings.
Yes, so they are actually, you can order them
Mhm.
online.
I said, we
Okay,
have,
okay. I don't wanna say you can get it from Amazon, but you can order them.
I'm saying this
online.
this has been on there now for like 30 years,
Yes.
30 or 40
Yes,
years.
and I think there was some initiatives originally by some of the historical societies, the local and the county historical societies, to get some of the more significant structures marked. We do not currently have a program for that.
Okay.
But I wouldn't put it past the HDC
I'm
or
just
another
wondering
local
how,
entity
you
to
know what I
pursue
mean, if
that.
you buy a house through a real estate agent, like, how do you know you can buy this
Well,
house?
that's
And you
what
don't
I'm
put windows in
concerned
and then
with.
wham, bam, you can't do that, you right?
But say somebody lives in the house for 35 years, they do something through this process and then it gets sold.
Yeah,
How is that flagged?
yeah.
Right, and someone moves in and they replace all the windows with
Yeah, and then
windows.
they're like,
Do they get in
now you
trouble?
know this tax thing that somebody
Yeah.
did 20 years ago, that's what I was kind of
I
thinking.
guess it
down the
was
road,
still
how does
there.
that work?
So typically, the way that the county operates is we are much more in the try to bring things into compliance and penalize.
Yeah.
So we are going to, more than likely, if that situation ever did arise, we would reach out to the property owner. It would have to be a pretty egregious replacement of, materials or loss of like.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like somebody to replace wooden windows with others if they didn't have a clue, it didn't show up in the title search.
In that
You know
particular
what I mean?
case, we do
Yeah.
have a clause in the ordinance for that. Again, I have not run into that yet.
I'm just thinking.
No, you are
You know
not
what
the
I
first
mean?
one to bring that up. You are not the first one to bring that up.
Doesn't make sense.
If there are suggestions that the town, because this MOU is being entered into, if there are suggestions that the town would like to bring before the HDC, I'm more than happy to take those back to them as concerns that we could pursue for updates. Obviously, we would much rather have people just be in compliance than have to pursue any actions against them. That's not what we're.
See, like, I don't even know how you could pursue an action against
Yeah.
someone. If they come up in the title search, and they don't have any knowledge of it, and
My concern is-
went and did something, that's just not.
Sure.
Thank you.
I have another question. You
Sure.
said that it was for generally parts of the building that would be facing the right of way. So if there are side streets,
This would still qualify.
they would still
It's just
qualify.
easier when I explain it for you
Okay.
to visualize that those right-of-way areas are the primary focus. But I mean, if a project covers multiple facades of the building, that's not an issue. We are more, the guidelines are more stringent for facades that face the right-of-way versus the non-primary facades. So non-primary would be more open to those other materials rather than proposing in kind, is really the gist of what I'm trying to get across with that.
So I guess my question is,
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry, this was gonna be short. Well, so like if you applied and did replacement windows that complied on the front, and then you decided, because you're on the side street, to replace your side windows with the new vinyl, would you now be out of compliance because as long as you didn't ask for another tax credit, or how does that?
As long as you weren't pursuing another tax credit, they would be more than likely more lenient. I would not recommend that.
That's what I'm worried
Reach out
about.
to
Like,
me.
you applied for this, you took a credit,
But
now 5
yes,
years later,
that-
you wanna do the side windows, and now it's like, oh, I can't do
Substitute
that. I'm like,
materials are
stop.
more acceptable when they're not on the primary facade. But part of the HDC's initiative is to really educate the public as well, which is why we do encourage those workshops that the Historic Trust does, the state of Maryland, Preservation Maryland is hoping to do some workshops locally as well. So we do encourage the people that we do have contact with to participate in those. And typically, when someone is educated about how to take care of the property, they're more likely to avoid those types of decisions. But as you said, people can move in and come and go. But hopefully we would have a good rapport with the town to be able
Gotcha, I'm just, like I said,
I am making a note to reach out to the, well, to bring that up. to the
You know, maybe,
agency.
what I mean, like, maybe some kind of a time limit.
So is the zone entered into the MOU?
Nothing changes, because right now you're not a qualifying municipality. So when people do call me for the town, I just refer them to the state for
So
the
they can
state
still
income
go
tax
through the
credit.
process.
They could still reach out to the state for an income tax credit, but they would not qualify for a county
County
property
tax.
tax credit. Yeah, so that would just refer them to the state typically for their projects. They also have grants available through the state. They're a little more limited, but I would still refer them for those types of programs.
Now, I must have missed this. Way back, when Mary Lee asked the first question, what was the comment about the 5-year period?
So the property tax credit that is approved, so whatever the project's total qualified rehabilitation expenses are, you get 25% of that typically for your property tax credit. That credit has to be expended over a 5-year period. So if you've still got a credit left at the end of the 5 years, that kind of leaves something on the table. We don't really have a way to carry it past that 5 years. So if their tax burden isn't high enough to consume all of that credit, they're gonna leave a little bit on the table. So far, I haven't had one like that.
So
But-
do I take that to mean that the tax credit's only good for 5 years?
If your project does exceed your tax burden, there is that potential.
It's a one-time credit, so it's
It's
not
a
every
project-based
year.
Right.
credit.
It's not, yeah.
Typically, what we've been seeing with people is they're coming in, I have one right now for chimney replacement. So they need to have their chimney, the inside of it fully removed, replaced, and then they need to have all the caps and the brick repointed and all of that stuff. So,
Okay.
that's enough that they will probably have a credit over that 5
I didn't
years.
see the 5-year comment here.
No, I did not put that specifically in there, but that is something to be aware of with the ordinance.
Okay.
Yes, and the ordinance is all, in our website on multiple places.
So you're not gonna get a check if you're.
No, there is not,
Get more than your
correct.
county taxes where you're not gonna give you that money
there
back.
is no
and
check at the end.
You not pay your
It is lost.
taxes.
Not gonna cut you a check.
Yeah, they're just gonna apply your credit.
Would structure have to be brought up to our standards, and we do something that's historic?
There are building code exceptions for a historic structure, and the HDC is able to make comments to our building inspectors on appropriate things. So I guess one of the more common ones is the height of railing. There are ways to get around leaving that original railing height and adding an extra bar, or having something at the back that's not as visible from the street that still meets code, but we still retain that architecturally significant feature of the front porch. That's one of the easiest.
How about ADA, would it need to put a wheelchair ramp in if there was a
ADA is one of the things that is addressed in our qualified rehabilitation expenses, because we have noticed that some people need those types of things to be able to continue use of a building, especially in a commercial capacity. So that is something that could qualify if they're placing it in an appropriate way with the construction that doesn't detract from the architectural features of the structure. So that's something to help a commercial property typically, but we do have some residential properties that have those. I mean, as well.
Let me throw this out there.
That's a got great questions.
I was gonna say-
We're that kind of group.
It sounds like a good program, but I don't want to place more of a burden on our town manager or our town planner.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
I just want to understand,
It's one of two on
does
our
this take much of their time?
It should not. So typically what I'm, it's me. So typically the application is going to be reviewed by me. I would reach out to a municipality and let them know that there's a need for their particular
I mean,
property.
I can see with our structures in town, all up and down Main Street, we could potentially have a lot of applicants.
We have seen an increase in applications since raising the percentage, because before it was just the 10%. It wasn't a sweet enough deal. And now I think we've had some increase.
We'll put this on the agenda for tomorrow night with the planning commission, and then we'll put it back on our agenda for our November parent council.
And if you come up with any questions and Rachel needs to convey them, I'm happy to try to answer those for you. But otherwise, I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to
Thank
learn.
you very much.
Now I gotta find my notes. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you. No other guests, so we'll move on to our workshop business. First United Bank and Trust Proposal.
Well, I can start, if you like. So we have, all the documents that I'd sent to Kim, and Kim printed them off, and you and Eric have already signed yours, and I gathered your driver's license copies tonight before the meeting. The only thing I need to do is to send some of this information over to Denise Hess at First United. So when I reviewed the mayor and council meeting that I missed, it was clear to me that everybody was on board and in agreement with the new ICS account at First United. If I misunderstood that, then I'll certainly listen to what you have to say, but it's my understanding that you want to move forward with it. I just spoke to Mitch from Wealth Enhancement today. We had a couple of CDs come due on Friday. Him and I didn't connect by phone Friday, but we spoke today. I told him to send that check over to the town. The only other two CDs come due in December that we have left. And I told him that we would be finishing our services with Wealth Enhancement. I said, nothing personal. I said, but it's costing the town money. I said, and the program that we were in prior to this one didn't cost us any money. I said, we're moving to a new program with First United that's not going to cost us any money. And he understood. So he will reach back out to me when those CDs come due, and I'll transfer those into the general fund as I have in the past. My question is, are we going on forward with this? I'm going to send the information over to Denise tomorrow as soon as I get a secure email from her. And how much do you want to put in the account?
I would only say, Tanya, as you and I have discussed, I think offline, we probably want to discuss something, using some of this money for the unexpected Temple Street water line.
And that wouldn't be or shouldn't be a problem because these aren't going to be locked into terms like laddered CDs. This is going to be a pool of cash that we can take out as we want. There's no, well, I mean, there's a few restrictions. I mean, so many transactions a month, but
Yeah.
we're never going to get
You're
into
never gonna
that.
get to that,
No,
are we?
we're never going to get into that. So to
No
answer that,
penalties? No penalties?
No, it's just an ICS check.
yes, exactly.
My only question is, who's gonna be the one to make sure each month that we're not overlapping banks where our money's at First United and Middletown Valley Bank.
It's my understanding in conversation with Alan that Denise will be our go-to person with First United, and she will be responsible for doing that, just like Wells Fargo did.
Okay,
just
like somebody will
Wealth
have to
Enhancement.
spend your, I'm assuming maybe they're aware of that,
Yeah,
since they're both operating in the same kind of general
you know what happens when you assume.
areas, yeah, but that's what I just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You get
No,
your
I-
statement, and we both, you know, we have 500,000 now in the Bank of New York, and the banks that are not collateralized and
Yep.
covered, and we
I
got to
agree.
do something.
You know, so
I just
they're,
want to be aware that we got, somebody does have to make sure they watch that.
That's a great point, Mary Lou.
I mean, I'll take a recommendation from the treasurers, how much you want to move, but I don't see why we wouldn't at least move what we put into the general fund from Wells Fargo.
and that's where I was
You know what I
probably,
mean?
yeah, I was probably leaning towards just putting what we
Yeah.
had in other cash investments prior to go
That
back
way
to
it's
that.
kind of back to not in the general fund, like, you know.
Motion.
I will make a motion that we move as much as I can now, because I have 2 more CDs that are gonna be coming due, plus I don't have the 1 check that's in transit, but I'll move as much of the investment funds that we had prior, as soon as I establish the account with First United. And I don't know what that number is.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Here we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? The only thing I want to say is I agree with Eric. We may need some of that funding for Potomac Street, so as long as there's no penalties on it, then I agree with it. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. Thank you. Cash offer to purchase shares in Principal Financial Group Incorporated.
This was the item that I had on the agenda for the regular meeting, and, it's not another kind of stock situation. Kim, thinks that what this was when we had health insurance with a different company.
So back in 2012, we had our life insurance through Principal Life, or Principal Financial. We switched from them to, we switched from Principal to Reliance to One America and to Lincoln Financial, which is what we're with now. Somehow, somewhere along the way, we got these stocks. We were completely unaware of them until, like I was telling Mary Lee earlier, about 1.5 years ago or so, we started getting little dividend checks periodically, like for like $100 or something like that or less. And then we got this notice saying we have the option to cash out or to keep it in there.
What's the value of what we have in there?
So it's on the paper, it says 11,115.
Yeah, but that's at a discount.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Yeah. Well, I think our first problem is we gotta find the stocks or apply for lost certificates if we don't have them.
Yeah, see, we were not aware that we even had anything like this. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if there was like excess money left in, what do you call it, in Principal Financial from like when we had life insurance with them. I have no idea. And we never, like when we started getting the little checks, Brian, I think he reached out to them, but I'm not 100% sure. And I don't think anything ever materialized
I
of it.
reached out to them and they couldn't tell me anything.
Yeah,
because it
they
might
have no
be
idea where it came
different.
from or how it even.
We don't have to do anything, they just are giving.
Well,
us-
actually, we do, because
Actually,
we're
we do,
technically
yes.
in violation of our
We're
investment
not allowed to own
policy that we're not
stocks.
supposed to have them.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so do we cash it out then, so that we're not in violation?
Yes, but you can't cash them out without the actual certificates.
Which we
Watch,
don't
right?
have.
Right, I
Yeah,
mean, you gotta have the stock
You don't?
certificates, they've gotta be in safekeeping somewhere, which they must be somewhere, because someone has a record that the town owes them.
So do you have a proposed solution, because I don't know anything about this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, what do I do?
Yeah, I don't know, that's what I was trying to, I thought it was from like the investment account thing at some point, I thought someone had said, or, you know what I mean? And I guess you have to get a hold of the actual Principal Financial Group and see if they have a record of who has your stocks in safekeeping. I doubt that they probably would have ever sent the town the physical certificate, but.
Yeah, I've never
they're
seen
safekeeping
anything.
at, you know, an investment firm. Like Wells Fargo would have, you know, any stocks the town had in safekeeping, you know what I mean?
I did reach
You
out
called them.
to Tyler. He can't
Yeah.
help us because they're not
Yeah.
Edward Jones' name, so they're not able to help. I did have, I reached out to Bill Abels and I haven't heard back from him. So, yeah, we just gotta figure out, like you said, where the stocks are being held. We need the
Yeah.
actual stocks, and I'm sure they're not gonna sell them out at this discounted price. That's just ridiculous.
Try to get a hold of Bill
So.
and ask him.
See, but he wouldn't, this has nothing to do with retirement at all. This was,
No,
this was life insurance from 2012.
How many years were you with that company, Kim?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I'm sorry, how long were we
How
with
many
them?
years were you with them?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if there was anyone before them.
Okay. So it's almost like a whole life type thing where
Mhm.
it was paid in and not used.
So, yeah, so whoever originally set up the life insurance with them, maybe it was part of signing up with them. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, it says if we have questions, we can reach out to the depository for more information. They have a phone number and they have an email, so I guess I'll be on the phone and send them emails. tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's, I don't know, I thought that was these people's depository.
Well, it's someplace to start,
Yeah.
because they certainly wanted to sell them.
Well, they definitely got our name from somewhere,
Right.
knowing we own stock. So, and I mean, you should be able to apply for, you know, replacement of lost certificates once you figure out who has them. Or if we, you know, what brokerage firm has them, then you can just initiate an order to sell.
Right.
Because they trade on the NASDAQ from what I was looking at. But I don't see a reason to take an offer that's for $51.70. And when I looked today, it traded at $79 and
Right.
something, and it's been, you know, right around between it's been as high as 80 couple and, you know, down to 73, 72,
And this
71,
offer was
19.
dated
You know what I mean?
July 1, 2025 anyway.
This is who I reached out to.
Yeah, and I think that's this people that's making the offer, the company that they're for is making the offer. I don't know why they're trying to buy them. Like I looked and I mean, some of the holders that had in this company was like Bank of America, Vanguard. I mean, so it wasn't like it was, you know what I mean?
They're just trying to buy them at a discounted rate.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but even to execute them at the discounted rate, you have to send in the certificates, your driver's license, it had a utility, I mean, it had a whole list of things you had to do,
Who knows whose name's on it? That's right.
you know?
It better be the town of Boonesboro, I hope, but
But probably whoever was the treasurer.
Well, it's addressed to the town of Boonesboro, so I'm thinking it might be in the town of Boonesboro's name. Yeah, I would hope it would not be in an individual name.
How many is it, 100 shares?
100,000.
I don't think that's right.
Well, that's what it said.
Yeah, but that doesn't do the math
It
for,
doesn't, yeah, it didn't use-
yeah. that doesn't do
What
the
if it's
math.
not even real?
Yeah, 100,000 shares.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
I thought I read 100 here.
Okay, well, we'll take a look into that and see what it is and report back at our council meeting.
Will do.
it looks like 215.
So it's not a scam. Okay, Boonesboro Police Department updates. What you got, Dave?
Well, we'd like to bring, James, can you come up? I guess, or- So, we had a meeting with the personnel committee in August.
Yeah.
Well, that had been August, so, James was promoted to the rank of lieutenant assistant chief, and Tony asked that we wait to this meeting, which he could attend, and I could attend, because I wasn't at the last meeting, to make it a formal announcement, so. James?
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Swearing in and everything. That's why I bring him up front.
Well, actually, I appreciate everybody's messages and texts and prayers and everything else. It's been a rough couple of weeks.
Let's see you.
Jim and Billy?
Everybody relax.
Oh, okay, you guys wait a minute.
Shake hands or something. Oh. Official.
We're gonna figure take a picture.
Yeah, give me a good picturing.
Show the scar.
Oh, you don't want to see that.
Yeah, be a real man, show that scar.
Yeah, I want to see that.
You guys come up here. So, you guys know that National Night Out was held August 5th. So these two, Officer First Class Sword and Officer William Gilbert was responsible for making that night happen. James actually did these accommodations for them, so it's a letter of accommodation. It's dated August 15th of 2025. On August 5th, 2025, the town of Boonesboro's National Night Out event was held in Schaefer Park and was hosted by the Boonesboro Police Department. This annual event is designed to promote strong partnership between local law enforcement and the community in which they serve. The planning of this event is an extremely complex and difficult task which requires months of dedicated preparation. Also, First Class James Sword and Officer William E. Gilbert were given the task of planning and coordinating this event. Through their diligent efforts, these officers personally contacted dozens of local businesses, organizations, religious institutions, food vendors, and entertainment providers, and requested their participation in this community engaging event. The event was a great success and was attended by hundreds of our local community. It was only through the diligent efforts of Officer Sword and Gilbert that made this event such a success, and they should be commended for representing the town of Boonesboro and the Boonesboro Police Department in such a professional and dedicated manner. Thank you, guys. Very much.
Thank you. Very good job.
And I think they should do it next year too.
Thank you.
You're on out.
Hey, guys, can I get a picture? Hey, can I get a
That's
picture?
right.
They actually signed it.
Picture.
There you go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thanks, guys.
Yes, good job, guys. Thank you. I'm sure everybody on the
Very good.
scores helped, but
Thank you.
I was hanging those that really was, and Rachel.
Hey, now we all get to drive the Gladiator.
It's out there. Now Tony can come off the oatmeal cream pies even more. They're all for Howard. He said he wanted it.
I thought they were fattening us up for the purge.
That all you got, chief?
I mean, the camera switch over began today. Sparkers brought the server down today. I think it's taking a lot longer than they anticipated, so, I think there's 9 cameras that they couldn't get it come over because they're so antiquated, I guess, is where we're at with that.
So they got them all up and running. There's one for sure that is not doing anything, but it's one of the I don't know that I've ever used it in the whole time I've been here. So of all of them not to come over, that would be a good one. There are several that are really old and antiquated, like Chief said, that they have to go back to, is it Milestone? To see if there's a key or a driver or something that they can bring those over. If not, I'm not sure where that takes us from there, but it's been an interesting process. It's been an interesting process.
Blocks should be done this week. So our 7 LPRs and solar cameras should be completed this week. All the MDOT permits come through last week.
Yeah.
And they should be installing that now, so they should be up by the end of the week. So Spikers is anticipating, they're hoping to be done by December. So we ran into another snafu that Greg had a very good contact at Potomac Edison. They kind of pre-approved us. The guy came down last Thursday.
Yes.
We rode around, identified all the poles, and only half of them were PE poles and half of them are Verizon poles. So we're in the process of Verizon. I'm waiting to hear back from a lady that I was referred to by their district manager, and that was Friday. He referred her. I haven't heard a thing. So, we'll see. If we have to, we can, Nick said we can make everything happen on the same side of the street and just run a power line across the street. So we'll just use the poles if we have to, but yeah, we'll see. But again, we're hoping, by early December, that will be done. So.
Well, I've been in touch with the chief. Our church, my church, installed 4 cameras. They just got installed in the last week. I'm just gonna wait until you tell me that you have the server situated, because the guy was on vacation anyway.
Okay.
But Trinity Lutheran Church has agreed to grant access to the BPD for the 4 cameras that we have, which will give them a lot of coverage.
The whole Reader's Alley.
It'll give you Reader's Alley, it'll give you the stop sign,
Yeah.
it'll give you the back of our church, the pavilion, and the play set out towards Potomac Street. So it's
Yeah.
they really did a good job setting them up.
Yes.
So, but I'll communicate with you.
Yeah.
They gotta come down and install something, I guess, some kind of server, software
Yes,
to
I'm
bring it
assuming,
over.
yeah, the milestone and the
Yeah.
milestone to bring it in. I'm not understanding the process, but that's what it takes, so.
Okay.
And I know once Nick gets down here next week and start pulling power and putting up boxes, we're gonna talk to him about the process of reaching out to local businesses and seeing about bringing the businesses to maybe implement some cameras that,
Like Mount Nebo, don't they have cameras?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm not sure either.
I know that they have at least a camera at the door, because you have to get buzzed in
Okay.
at the daycare.
Okay.
That would give you more access to
Yes.
the top of
Yeah,
the alley. They
because
have
that's as far as we're gonna go, is to the top of
Right.
South Main. That's where we're gonna stop at this. Well, we'll be out of the circle because of blocks, but, yeah.
Our goal with bringing the businesses in is to try to get like maybe some of the alleyways or back parking lots that we're not focusing on right now. That'll give us some coverage. People slip through those alleyways and parking lots all the time. So that would give us additional coverage, if something were to happen.
Good. Good, thank you. Personnel manual updates.
Probably the easiest just to go through. It's really not that many substantial.
Was it marked in the copy that was on there, or was I just dumb? I tried to look to see if there was.
You had to download it. You had to download it to see the marks.
So when we originally uploaded
Uh-huh.
the PDF of it, all the changes were incorporated, so you couldn't see the
That's
changes.
what I was, okay, because I
Yeah.
tried calling Tony, he didn't answer.
But then she put the Word document on, and you can see them with the Word document.
Yeah.
Actually, I called it back and make the voicemail, so.
See any marks strike through, you know what I mean? But
I didn't
there's a
see
lot
it.
of
I don't
pages
see it
and I didn't want to print everything, so I brought the one that I had.
There weren't that many substantial updates there. I'm not gonna
Like, is
point
this
out,
just me, or what am I missing?
I'm not gonna point out all of the typos. There were a lot of places that just had small grammar errors that had been bugging me, so I just fixed them. I basically kept a running list of things that needed fixed until there was actually something significant. One thing I noticed is that under sick leave, well, I think it's 17.
Okay, it's not 17 in my copy, so let me look like it.
Immediate family was defined in 2 different ways, so it was also in 2 or 3 different places, so I just nixed all of them and put it at the top. So immediate family, I put a little definition section. If it comes up later that there's a need for other definitions throughout the personnel manual, I'll probably have a definition section at the beginning or the end of the entire manual, but at this point, it's just immediate and extended family. So immediate family is defined as parent, including in-laws, spouse, child, or sibling, and also includes any person living in the household of the employee. Extended family is defined as relatives beyond the nuclear family, including grandparents, aunts, uncles, and other relatives. So that cleared that one out. Promotions. This was the part that we added as a result of the last personnel manual meeting.
24.
I don't think it is actually 24, though.
Oh.
That's after stuff has been added. So there was no clarity on how promotions were going to be handled
So
here.
I did 23. Bottom of 23.
So in the last personnel committee meeting, we talked about it, determined the process, so this had already been identified in a previous meeting, but now it's in the manual. Continuous learning and development is encouraged if an employee in the public works or water and wastewater department obtains a certification issued by the Maryland State Board of Water Works and Waste System Operators. The employee will be promoted to the next level, meaning like operator 1 to operator 2, and awarded a 5% increase in pay. So again, that had already been approved by the personnel committee, just need to put in here. And then in the personnel committee meeting, we also laid out exactly, basically when we need to come to the personnel committee, when we can just do the promotion meeting, or Dave can do it on our own, when it needs to come to you guys, whether it goes in executive. So I started to put it in the manual, and then I didn't think that it really was appropriate for the manual. I think it's more of like a standard operating procedure. So I will type that up and we will just have that in the
Makes sense.
system. It's not really a manual kind of thing.
Okay, well, I have a question, sorry. So is the difference in pay between operator 1 and operator 2, and municipal 1 and municipal 2, a 5% increase? And is that always gonna stay, or do we just wanna put and awarded an increase in pay and not specify a specific amount? Which gives you,
But having it already
Scale.
established as a 5% increase makes it so that I don't have to convene the personnel committee every time somebody passes a test.
The
Like, it's
tiers
just-
between positions townwide
Mhm.
are 5% as opposed to,
That's what I'm
Yeah,
asking,
this is
or
a-
do we have a
this is a-
tier, but what if we change the tier, you're gonna have to go back and change the manual? I mean, to me, if you go from municipal 1 to municipal 2, you automatically get,
Not necessarily.
No,
If you've
it's
been
an
an operator 1 for 6 years and you finally pass the test, the operator 2 position might start at less than what you're making as operator 1, because you've been doing it for so long.
so if you get a
should
promotion with more responsibility or to a higher position, it is a 5% difference between those grades. Unfortunately, if you're operator 3 with 10 years on, you get operator 4, it's still 5% of whatever you were making before.
Basically, there's overlap between the pay grades.
Yeah, this.
okay, I understand that, I'm just wondering, is that what the actual thing is? Because if you guys change it to 4, you're gonna catch yourself if you don't change this in a future salary.
change what to 4.
If you change your pay grade increases or the steps.
Well, then everything would be changed. Your actual chart and everything would be changed.
Yeah,
So-
and then you would be stuck if you don't remember to change this.
But it's always gotta be a 5%, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
This prevents that, Marilyn.
Huh?
This actually is designed to prevent exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so we have a structure that the difference between grades is gonna be 5%. And that way we don't have that issue of, what we get. And I guess we can promote, or we can move to those steps if someone has earned it without being the town council.
Okay, so my question then would be, what if you wanted to give them 6%? Does that mean you have to meet with the personnel committee, or
We're not playing-
are you limited to that?
Yeah.
Huh?
We don't wanna play that anymore.
Okay,
We're not-
okay.
yeah,
Just
we're-
asking
yeah,
questions.
No, that's good. Because that's to avoid that.
And by putting it in the manual, then they know
Know
what
what
they're
gonna
getting.
get, okay.
We're
And we
getting
are
too big to
compliant
go,
with
okay,
that now.
Joe gets this percent and Frank gets this percent, because whatever, we're too big for that. There has to be some kind of structure and uniformity in it. And there's, of course, anything other above and beyond, we give awards for that. Did a great job, we can give a catch, and that's where we can convene a personnel committee with the supervisor and all that. And you can make these advancements, except for James is an executive promotion. So we talked about, so we can talk about that, so.
So going back on that, if Billy, for instance, goes from officer to officer first class, is that automatic 5%?
That is not the same thing. That
Okay.
is a promotion, which for that, you would, so the ones that are in here are because they passed
At
the
the test.
certification
Test
that
certification.
qualifies them to be the next level. With
That
We're
would be-
talking-
Which is basically what
Time,
Pete's gonna
because
get guys.
Officer 3 years, it's a
They take
officer
those.
for class is an automatic.
Right. I heard you. I'm trying
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
promotion the correct word we want to use here, or do you want to use certification?
They obtain a certification, so then they are promoted.
Okay, I'm just asking, because I wasn't in the meeting, so I didn't get. And like I said, I wasn't sure what changed, so I didn't really analyze it for it, so.
Did you
Yeah,
try to
look at it
download
online.
it?
I didn't download it, I pulled it up on there. I didn't, yeah, and I didn't see markings, and I kind of tried to.
Do you want me to
call
bring it
Tony
up on the
ask.
laptop?
No, I could probably try downloading it here now, I just said I didn't review it.
So it's not going to have
download it.
strike-throughs on it. It's gonna have the red marks on the side.
Like I said, I didn't look at it ahead of the meeting because I didn't know where to look to see the changes. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to print out multiple page thing, you know what I mean? So I brought my copy I had of the personnel manual.
So the next part that changed was on the job descriptions and pay grades page. There was a portion that said, job descriptions are used to determine employee selection, job requirements, performance evaluations, and organizational structure, and the relative worth of jobs in relation to each other, which I don't like that phrase, so I would very much like to take that out. I don't really have a good reason for it other than relative worth.
To me, it's about page 26.
And then there was a position of clerical worker, which we don't have. There was administrative assistant, which at one point we had administrative assistant, then we had water and sewer clerk, like
And then it was
there's
merged.
overlap, so we don't need the administrative assistant. I corrected the parks groundkeeper, because the hourly or the annual salary was incorrect. I think that was based off 40 hours, which it's not a 40-hour position. And, I removed the benefit package because this position is part-time and it's not eligible for benefits. Under water and wastewater, I removed operator 3 because we don't have an operator 3 and Pete said he doesn't see the need for ever having one.
Sorry, just in your total package includes retirement benefit contribution 7%, there is a cap on that. Isn't there only X?
It's 7%.
Yeah, but isn't there up to an amount or no? Is it like?
No.
I didn't know if it's, you know what I mean,
I
like
think it's
social
a
security,
crazy
that's
amount,
what I
though,
wasn't
isn't it?
sure.
Isn't it like a
Just-
really high
yeah,
amount
just-
that nobody here likes?
Okay, I just, you know what I mean, I'm just looking at.
It's like
when things
$30,000 or
change,
something
okay,
like that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
it's a
just don't
big-
wanna-
it's a
you
big
know what I mean?
number.
And then somebody comes back and say, oh, you didn't give me the whole, because I thought there was a cap, and I'm not sure.
No, I think you're right, but it's,
And I didn't know whether you include retirement, 7% salary up to cap or something, you know what I mean?
okay, so what do you want it to say?
Oh, I was just asking that question, you know what I mean? Includes retirement contribution of 7% of salary, I don't know if you want to create parentheses up to the allowable cap or something like that, you know what I mean? It can't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if
Otherwise,
our,
it's open-ended, I get it.
yeah, I'm not sure, I can't remember how our retirement thing is without going and looking. If there is a cap or if it is.
I think it's
But I think. there's
back in a
cap
few
somewhere.
pages wherever it
Could be
talks
wrong.
about retirement in the
Okay.
book.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Like I
And
said, I
then
didn't get to.
at the end of it, the, police lieutenant is now police lieutenant / assistant chief. So that was the last one there. Going into the job descriptions, I had, several people that seemed like their descriptions needed to be updated. I had them give me some updates. So there are some for office manager. Do you want me to list the updates? Do you want me to read those? These are things that Kim is actually doing that were not previously listed in her job description, and I wanted the job descriptions to actually reflect what everyone does. So it's not like I'm adding anything in here for her to start doing, it's just updating it to include things that she's taken on. So I'm not gonna read them unless you guys want me to. It's a lot.
Kim, give us a synopsis of what you do on a daily basis.
All the above,
I don't rest.
all the above.
But once you get it updated, we're gonna be able to get the revised copy. So office manager got updated, who else?
It says,
Am I in the right place or no? I still don't see.
oh,
red
that was
marks
one
like
of
you
the
have.
things that I added. So high school graduate with 5 years administrative experience or an equivalent combination of education and experience.
So this still isn't what you have been, what I downloaded. Yeah, I don't have anything that looks like you still, and I kind of thought that I
I'll bring it up.
download. So, well, you don't have to do it this minute, but I would kind of want to be able to get to it so I can look at it between now and council meeting.
Well, I don't know how to say what to do that. It's not showing up on the website.
Well, and editing is gonna let me edit it, right? But-
If you just, well, if,
Yeah, it's
right where you
red
were, if
marks,
you would have,
like,
yeah.
the paragraphs were changed. I don't know. Let me check it out. Look at where's that now. I said I thought that maybe I was.
You just downloaded it from the site, right?
Right,
Yeah, it doesn't
right.
have any
It
of the
said
changes.
operate, I thought, it's operator error, but I'm still having operator errors. So I think this is where we're at.
She downloaded it.
Right from me.
Yeah.
There, that's a little bit, there you go, chief, that's on your chief.
IT specialist, very good.
Yeah,
Super genius.
Super genius.
he is. But now it still doesn't have the paragraph that you have done, unless that's down here somewhere else.
Wile-E coyote.
That should
Exactly.
come, But it
That's what
doesn't
it is.
have.
Okay, so,
So I need to click somewhere.
I added processes onboarding forms and benefit information for new employees. I added, enrolls employees and submits insurance claims, maintains employee pension plans and calculates and coordinates annual deposit with the CPA and advisors, records and monitors vacation and sick leave for employees, processes accounts payable and issues of check, credit card, and ACH payments for all invoices. Maintains and monitors the park community center and pavilion rentals and agreements, maintains and monitors the park sports fields calendar, obtains agreements and certificates of insurance, creates and publishes the quarterly town newsletter, creates town proclamations as needed, and uses independent judgment to interpret and enforce policies and procedures. Knowledge, skills and abilities, just kind of reworded some stuff. Ability to effectively transcribe meeting minutes. And establish priorities and complete assigned duties with minimal supervision. And then I added some of the things I took out of there, I added to education and experience. So I don't know where you were seeing bachelor's degree, because this one didn't have bachelor's degree.
On this copy that I downloaded on the website, it's nothing like what you have.
Office manager?
Town manager in it. Town
Office
manager, okay,
manager.
office manager.
I didn't change anything in my job
Okay.
description.
Oh, that explains it. Now it's all coming.
Now, okay, now I know where we're at. Okay, well, I was trying to look at what page you were, I couldn't see the title, okay.
It did say high school graduate.
Okay,
I added-
now we got it.
I added 5 years administrative experience for an equivalent combination of education and experience.
I'll stay.
Demonstrated experience exercising discretion, and good judgment, working with sensitive information and confidential employee matters. And I also added that this person, since we've come to depend on him to be our notary public, I added that it must be a current notary public of the state of Maryland or have the ability to become one within the first 30 days.
Do you want to add that, did you add notary to the town clerk position too? I think, at one point in time, we had more than one, didn't we? Didn't Heather become a notary?
No.
Yeah.
I thought we asked her to, she never did.
No, we just have one, right?
Just one.
Just Kim.
Kim,
And there's
I
no
have-
reason why someone else in the office couldn't be.
I have thought about getting mine back. I had mine at one point in time.
I deleted the administrative assistant job description, so we're not gonna have that anymore. These are updates to the water and sewer clerk, prepares daily utility bank deposits, makes adjustments such as refunds, credits,
Still just an
NSF,
application.
penalties and shut off fees,
It's still just an application. You go through.
transferring properties
Here's how.
for,
Someone-
setting accounts
Sure.
and everything. And then creating and manipulating spreadsheets for diesel sewer billing and generating month end and year end reports for the annual audit.
Yeah, it's just one line for them now. But you have to take. Some of the glasses.
Yeah.
That's changed. 'cause it never
Sure.
was on.
All right, under Greg's description for superintendent of public works, his didn't say he needed a driver's license, so I added possession of a valid driver's license. And for all of the job descriptions that specified a Maryland driver's license, I crossed out Maryland. Is that an issue for your department?
But I thought we talked about that before.
We talked about it for
We never did
Robbie's
it.
position when we updated it. I didn't notice at the time that
Gotcha,
a lot of
says
job
it somewhere else.
descriptions said a Maryland driver's license. So I added that Greg has to live 50 to 75 pounds, work in all weather conditions, climb ladders, and be willing to work in confined spaces. And I also added all his certifications because it didn't list them. So he has to have the Class 1 water distribution operator certification, Class 2 wastewater collection system operator, MPD has stormwater inspector certification, and then after you guys appoint him as superintendent, he has to obtain the Class 1 water distribution superintendent certification. And he also has to have the erosion and sediment control certification. That is something soil conservation makes somebody in the department have. Alright, nothing got added for crew leader. Nothing got added for anyone all the way down to Pete, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so for Pete, I added that, well, I kind of cleaned up how it was worded to specify that before he would be appointed superintendent. Class 5 wastewater treatment plant operator certificate and Class 2 water treatment operator certification with Class 5 water endorsement for filtration issued by the state, and then also water sampler certification. And then, just like with Greg, before or after being appointed superintendent, he would have to obtain, in Pete's case, it's both Class 1 water and Class 1 wastewater distribution, whereas Greg only needs the water superintendent. I don't think anything else was added. Like I said before, there wasn't a job description for an operator 3. For police lieutenant, it's now lieutenant/assistant chief. You have a driver's license from wherever he wants. And I think that was it.
Okay, sorry, I know, I'm always a troublemaker. How about, since this has become a current topic, something under the town clerk is to manage and collect receivables, because there's other receivables besides just the taxes. That's come to our attention that we have something, that we collected. I don't know.
Well, it says processes and reconcile all receivables. So
Yeah,
what do you
but
want us to
process,
say?
and that's our problem. Somebody's sending out a bill, but then they're never collecting them. You know what I mean? There was no follow-up as
So
in
what are you wanting
60-day notice or, you know what I mean? What we do once these things have become in the aged report.
So what do you think should be added?
Because it's not really process, I don't know, collect, I'm looking at Tony and Eric.
Yeah, I'm looking to
But-
see what you're reading. but,
Yeah,
I mean,
not one page.
I'm there, I'm
Okay.
there.
You know what I mean? It doesn't really define anybody for, you know.
How about outstanding
You know, the collection
payables,
of, 'cause it's not
outstanding
just-
collections?
It's not just receiving funds or billing, it's also then you've got to collect them.
What did you say?
I said outstanding collections or outstanding,
Responsible for outstanding collections.
Management of receivables.
Yeah, management of receivables and collections, something like that.
So instead of process and reconcile.
You know, that still has to say, but processing is creating a bill, you know what I mean, and sending it. But one of the problems was, somebody sends one bill,
So process,
And then stop.
reconcile, and manage.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Ray.
I think it should be its own line, not, you know what I mean? You know what I
Can
mean?
you say again what you wanted to say about it?
Management and collection of all receivables, is that what Eric said? That,
I mean,
Um,
that'll probably
concerned.
cover it, but I,
have a better way to flex them.
yeah, let's just leave it there. Because it can just get too wordy.
Yeah, I mean, management includes reconciliation.
Yeah, well, and we have that in there. I mean, it's fine reconciling, yeah, it's on the list and it's in my balance,
But
but
we
then
know about
I
getting
was sent a 60-day notice, what are we gonna do after, you know what I mean, so many days? Because at some point we need to decide how we get this money. Let's do it.
Okay, any other updates or anything to the personnel manual?
Could we go back, way back to the pay chart for operator 1, 2? Just to, put a period on
Okay,
this. So if I'm at operator 1, and I've been there forever and ever and ever, and I'm at the cap of $82,000, right, for Department of Wood and Wastewater, right?
Operator 1 or 2?
Operator 1.
Okay.
that's the benefit package.
Yeah.
That's not the
That's-
salary.
Yeah, that's with all of your stuff.
53,851.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a great job by Rachel and the Personnel Committee, because we had some issues here before, where, for example, you were at 53,851, and not counting the police department in this case. We're saying we got our credentials and we're moving to an operator 2. If you be at 53,851 and you said they get a 5% raise, there was not an opportunity in the operator 2, that scale didn't go high enough.
All right, but we did now.
So it's fixed. So we did have a case before, some years ago, where someone got a promotion.
It also
Took a pay cut.
Well, no.
And basically,
And
they did.
their new, well, not the case I'm thinking of, was their new salary was beyond what was in our pay scale.
Yeah.
So
No, well,
that's
that was,
incorrect.
yeah, that's probably.
So I just want to point that out. Good job.
I didn't fix that.
No, this was way.
No, we,
This was-
yeah.
Well, that's what I was kind of asking when I was at that 5% thing, do we have that under
I
that?
hope that made some sense.
It does.
Yeah, good job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, good job. You guys.
Yeah, you want to take operator 3 completely out, like you don't think
I asked
you
Pete
leave it in
about
there
it.
for expansion or anything?
I asked Pete about it. There's nothing else that they could obtain. The next thing to obtain is the superintendent.
Okay,
So I'll leave it in there, get rid of it.
okay. I was just to say, do you leave it in there for someone to kind of obtain the credentials to become the
I
superintendent?
already
Or
asked
just
him, you can't become
Okay.
the super and have that certification until you are appointed.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what he said he would do is when he was approaching retirement, he would give you guys a heads up so you could go ahead and appoint the next person, assuming it's somebody working here.
Yeah.
And then that person could go ahead and get the certification so that after Pete was gone, they would just step into it.
And you don't want to leave? Some clerk, I just, you know what I mean, you eliminated things and I'm just.
Well, there
happy
was
you
no
don't
job
leave them.
description for a clerical
Okay,
worker.
okay.
I don't even know that we ever had a clerical worker.
I didn't know if you wanted to leave something in there, you know what I mean, giving yourself flexibility to.
I don't anticipate we're gonna be able to hire any more staff, so there's not really any point in keeping it.
Okay, is this good for this or we max that planner salary?
Is it good? What do you?
Yeah, I mean, are we in that realm now or are we out of that scale?
Who you
The
pointing
town
to?
pla- The town planner salary?
He's still in that range.
Okay.
He's approaching the top, but
Okay.
he's still in that range.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know how to download it. I didn't know, I figured downloading was just gonna download what was already showing in there, so I didn't know how to click and do this extra download.
Are there any other, questions or concerns?
And I'm assuming you got input from the people that are doing the jobs now, that they need to update.
Yeah, that's what I said at the
Which is
beginning,
how
that
it's
I
being
asked
done.
them
Okay.
to update them.
Okay.
So can you guys, can you do a
Do
motion
you have
to
a
approve
motion
it?
to approve, accept the proposal, personnel manual? Personnel manual?
I mean, I'll make a motion, but I
I'd
don't-
rather like give myself a little bit of time to look at it, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna abstain.
can we do it at the mayor and council? Is that okay? That way I can, yeah.
I'd rather read it, you know what I mean, I haven't thoroughly read it, I looked at the overview, but I don't feel confident that I should vote on it without
So do you want me
looking
to
at it.
put the version with all the approved changes out there for you to see, or do you want the red lines? to
Well,
see
I
what
think I've got
changed?
it now with the
Well,
red
you
lines.
don't have,
I don't have it?
well, not after the stuff that I have to go back and fix now, that you
Um,
guys
Why don't
mentioned
why
here.
don't you do a good copy and send it out to everybody?
Send out a
Yes.
version that has everything we
So
talked
everybody can
about.
review it
That would be
before,
helpful.
before the meeting.
Yeah, but it's nice to have it so that we know what the edits are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna
She's
email
got
out
it,
the
yeah.
copy that has the red line.
Yeah,
Just like the one that
suggestion,
She showed us here.
Yes.
like Rachel said, email the rough copy to everybody, and then we'll post the cleaned up copy on the agenda for next time, so it doesn't have all the red lined out stuff, so that we can PDF it and put it up.
That makes sense.
This is kind of like the comp plan review, how do you track those changes?
Yeah, and that's what I was like, I was like, what, I was trying to figure out what exactly was changing and how to tell where we were at.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to print all those pages.
I like to thank.
And if I printed it, I still wouldn't have had it right anyhow. So I had my copy.
I like to thank Rachel and the personnel.
Yeah,
committee
that was
for
a lot of
good
work.
job, 'cause that was a big task to do. Anything else come before the council? Council or staff updates, anything else?
I got a couple of questions. Suspicious person update, has that been cleaned up
Which,
out of at the post office?
I mean, it seems like it was a one-time.
Look at one
You
day.
want me to get the update sheet? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I was the one that took the initial call and did pretty much all the follow-ups. This looks like it is an absolute isolated incident.
Cool.
I checked with the other businesses that were up there in the area. Nobody else has seen anybody. Nobody else has had any problems. Late in the summer, I went up at least twice up on the National Pike for a suspicious person that was yelling at cars. That was a state police call. State police and I were never able to locate this person. We checked the trailer, I got a hold of the Easter Days, checked their property, checked out behind Middletown Valley Bank, the chief did that. It seems like it was an isolated incident. I know that the lights, will make Cresta, very, very happy, feel more comfortable about taking the walks. Sergeant Whittington stayed, he did hourly checks on the post office. We had the Washington County Sheriff's Department come in about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody else has seen anything. So as of this time, we're gonna say that this was a freak incident.
Could have been somebody from the Appalachian Trail.
Could have been, could have been. They were in a sleeping bag inside of the lobby where everybody goes in to get their,
Yep.
The other call to credit to the community, 21713 does not have enough crime stats for them to warrant a security camera.
I saw that.
Yes, but they were also thinking, the postal inspector and the postmaster were thinking it might be related to somebody an incident that they were having over in Middletown with a homeless person that was staying in their lobby in their post office. But right now, there's no further information.
Why?
Post office boxes are
Well,
24/7.
City of
No,
Hagerstown
yeah,
will
the
close
city
the
of
doors
Hagerstown does
every
this,
night
but-
and every Saturday and every Sunday. If you have mail to mail, you had to put it
On Franklin Street?
on Franklin
Yeah.
Street. You
But-
had to put it in a
but-
stop box.
But again, that's very inconvenient to people who have PO box.
Said they never used to.
Yeah,
No, they
they
didn't,
do
and that's
now.
why we
They
moved
do
to
now.
PO box
Yeah.
from up there, because it was very
You can't-
inconvenient if you worked and we needed to look
If you
at
have
the
anything to
evening.
mail, you have to put it in the outside mailbox and you can't get in to check anything.
But you can't get in to get your.
I mean, I guess we can cross that subject if,
I
Yeah.
highly wouldn't, it's very inconvenient to
Yeah.
the customer, so.
people
it's
go
not
in
a
there,
big
I mean,
thing.
you see
Yeah.
cars back there. at
Yeah,
five
we
times,
pick
I
up
mean,
our, you
Yeah.
know, we work on Saturday or
Yeah,
Sunday.
I don't
we're
think
out,
she
but-
liked it when I told her. I
After
said,
5 o'clock.
I asked her, I said, why don't you lock your door? She says, I can't. I said, how come the city of Hagerstown does? What? I
Well, they
said, you
couldn't
go up there
on
on
Timothy Street,
weekends
they're
and they're locked. The doors are
But
locked.
they're in a high crime
I
area.
was gonna say, that could be a crime statistic thing as
Well, and
well.
the reason
Yeah.
they were doing it was because people were
Homeless
using the
people.
lobby.
And because
For-
they are a federal
you know.
entity, you know, they're not, we can make as many recommendations.
Sure.
I made several recommendations to them, but it has to go up the chain of command and come back down and
I mean,
unfortunately.
that's highly inconvenient.
There was one in Funkstown one morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. I stopped in and dropped mail off. He was in there waiting to sell off and all, and,
Yeah.
and out the door I went.
So I had a couple more, but the town planner's not here, so I don't know how things are moving along on 303 North Main Street.
I don't tell them that they have to come
Okay.
unless they have something on the agenda.
Okay, so I guess we'll get an update on that. Not a big deal, but there's 3 chairs sitting on Della Lane, close to the mayor's house. What do we do about that?
Oh, they put them out by the curb because they
And
thought
put
it was
free.
all.
No, they have a sign on it,
They say
free. They have signs on it that says free. But we don't have anything in our ordinance, I'm afraid, Tony, that can do anything.
Well, come
Hopefully,
get them and throw them in the dumpster if they're free.
oh,
I'm in good shape, I might use a chair too.
We can
Put
move
$10 a piece on them and somebody will steal them.
yes.
Yeah.
Maybe the garbage man will take them,
Well, yeah.
Wednesday, I don't know.
The lieutenant needs a chair.
But it's not just.
How long has it been? Like maybe
A
they'll
week.
catch
It's
the
been,
idea.
yeah,
It's
it's getting
been
close
a
to it, yeah, it's getting close to
It'll
a
be a
week.
week.
I didn't even notice them.
But it's not only there, it's all over town, people just send stuff out.
And then my other question is, I know that, Rachel, you had in your report about the PFAS payment. Do we know how many more we're getting, or is it just,
I went back and looked at my notes and they had said that
when did,
they would be coming until like 2030 or something,
okay,
just
just whenever.
incrementally small.
Okay, all right, well, that's cool. We'll keep taking their money.
Absolutely.
And then the last thing I have is, I sent an email back to Yvette and I thanked her for sending out the minutes to the BMUC's meeting, the draft minutes so promptly and quickly. And I think that's an area that we need to get better with on all meetings. Sorry, Kim, but sometimes waiting until the day before the weekend to see draft minutes.
Oh, I have them done the next day.
Well, then send them out.
So send them out.
We
I
can
mean-
remember better, I think. You know what I mean? So-
Yeah, because otherwise.
And I post them online as soon as I have them done.
Okay, I've never gone there. I just assumed, when you assume.
I assume too, we didn't get them.
If you don't see them in an email, that they're not ready yet. So if that's the case, then never mind. Good job.
I mean, that's the
Bravo.
case for a lot of the documents for the agendas, like, you don't piecemeal send them as they're ready, but if there's something that's coming up and you wanna see it, we can send it to you separately, but we just send the entire, or don't post the entire package and tell you guys that it's
Correct.
on the website.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that the documents weren't ready ahead of time.
Okay, so we can go in online and look anytime and see what's so far, so to speak. And the agenda is somewhat created then too?
No.
No.
Okay, that won't be there, but
That is days up until it, because I'm trying to see what.
And also the videos, I put the videos up the next day. So if you want to watch a video,
and I
it's
did notice-
online the very
yeah,
next
I
day.
did notice that from the meeting that I was up in at the WISP, but I watch it as soon as I come home because I want to know what's going on with first night, so. All right,
It's
well, I-
very difficult to get the agenda more than a couple days ahead of time, because I often don't know if something is going
Gonna
to be ready in time, or like. for the
Well, and
CIP
and it's
thing,
also
I
like
have to
the
redo
minutes, you don't know what's gonna happen day to day in the office. You know,
And then the only other thing I have is that Kim enrolled me in the Academy of Excellence. So I have been really pursuing classes, and I'm happy to say that I need one more core class and 2 more electives, which I will get those at MML Summer Conference, and I will graduate from the Academy of Excellence for Local Government.
So now you're just mediocre, but you're gonna be excellent.
Say that again?
You'll be excellent. Right now, you're still mediocre.
Exactly,
Yeah, there you go.
exactly,
Excellent.
yeah, so. But I didn't realize it was that inexpensive to enroll, and I'd been in these classes before and not even getting credit for them, so it's like, this is ridiculous. If I'm going and trying to get better and to learn, I'm gonna get my classes, so. That's it, that's all I have.
Do we call you your excellency when you get that?
Yeah, and I get a new.
Tiara?
No, I get a new, no. Yeah.
Anything else come to the council?
Only I have abbreviations.
I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, abstain, motion carries. Thank you, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
No longer being recorded. This conference will now be